How's it going, everybody? It's BLACKOPS30001 here with another video. We are doing a podcast alongside AsePlayer.
Hello, I am the number one SE overlord, AsePlayer.
Wow, gives himself a lot of credit over there. Um, we are here with some things we wanted to talk about stick empires in general. Some basic tweaks or fixes that there is, and we think that Crazy J or Brock should listen to some of these. And you guys are inclined to your opinion on what you agree with and do not agree with, and what you think needs fixed. So put that below. And yeah, Ace, you want to start with the first one?
Okay, yeah, so we're gonna talk about some elementals, everybody. So
Oh, you're starting way down here.
yeah, I'm gonna start way down there.
Yeah,
Alright, so some of you may or may not know, elementals is not the most shall we say viable empire at the moment.
yep.
There's about a million reasons for this, but we can start off with the basic one. And that is Elementals has way too many spellcasters and not enough like core units. So if we can take a look here, I'm actually going to go into the armory and look here. There is one, two, three, pretty much four spellcasters. You got the tree, the V, the cycloid, and inferno. Now, um, half of them move slow, so that's a
Yeah.
problem. And one of them is an air unit that barely does anything to the ground units, and it's also melee, while the rest of the flying units are ranged.
hmm
And its protection doesn't do that much anymore since it was nerfed quite a while ago. The
So
tornado is
in other
weird.
words, a lot of work needs done here.
Yeah, pretty much. I
As
mean,
far as spellcasting core goes, there's not a lot of differentiating. What's a word for it?
are you just trying to say big words?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
I,
so
I can't do it.
Alright, so if we take a look, we have a miner, which is standard, an air elemental that gets outranged by an Archidon, a fire elemental that gets outranged by an Archidon, a water elemental that doesn't actually do damage and has pretty bad healing at the moment, a V that can die really quickly and is very much exposed to pretty much every threat, a tree that can't move when it's making scorpions, and the cycloid.
That does very little damage at all.
Tornado hitboxes, weird, all sorts of stuff. And then we have the Inferno with the Dragon Call that is more predictable than the Hellfist, pretty much.
Yeah.
And that
And
is
it's
saying
very,
something.
very easy to avoid in battle.
And we cannot forget the most OP unit in the game, Blind Gate. Shout out to Blind Gate for being useful when going for style points. But pretty much the problem with Blind Gate, it creates a fog of war. That sounds good in theory, but if one unit passes it, it gets nullified completely, so it's kind of
Yeah.
useless. One thing it does do is it allows you to go over max population, actually, which is a little
Yeah, I've
interesting,
noticed that, yeah.
because it gives back an Earth, so you can stack up on max population, and then an Earth will pop out, then you'll have like 81 out of 80 or something, which
Yeah.
is very insignificant, but it is a thing, at least. I mean, it's probably not worth it in the long run, of course, but
I have only ever used that one time. I just see no point in it.
yeah, so main problem, we have the fire and air units that get outranged by the Archidon. Um, that doesn't really go well because,
Archidon and or Dead's Eclipsers.
yeah, pretty much almost every ranged unit outranges the elemental ranged units, which is quite a problem. And as well as that, you do have the fact that the Earth will never hit a crawler if you move it away.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Like, the Earth takes a really, really long time to hit things,
The
and
stun isn't
ugh,
even.
this
It's not.
this stun's okay. I mean, you can stun lock something, but it's like it just hits so slow, you know?
Yeah.
And The V is pretty good, but
If used correctly, it needs protection ultimately.
yeah, one ninja will take it out, so that's a problem. And we have the tree, which is, I think, the center of most metas for elementals right now, actually.
It is, yeah.
Spamming trees will not only wreck you, but it'll also wreck your frame rate as well.
Yep.
So there's that.
I think if they're gonna fix one thing, it's the range on the air and fire.
Well, I'm not sure
I,
about that actually because I think originally they had the same range and it was actually considered OP because the burn damage did so much to the Archidon that like nothing could compete with it. But um, the range I think is not the biggest problem, but it is a problem. The main problem is there's just too many spellcasters on elementals right now.
yeah, there's way too many. Their only uh core unit that actually does its job correctly is the Chirag.
Chirag is the most OP unit in the game. Archidons go second place. But Ellie isn't really good enough to capitalize on the fact that the Trogs are so tanky, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that's about it. Elementals just in general, there's a few minor things and a few major things that I think could be implemented to make it do a little better.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
so yeah, is that it for elementals? Let's go with order.
okay, let me see. What did we say about order here?
We said
Okay.
order is too archer oriented,
Okay,
and
yeah. We could talk about that.
to further expand on that, we think the albatross should be more viable because it costs too much and it takes too long to deploy. By the time you get it out, it's essentially, if you use it wrong, it's dead.
Well, you gotta think about it like this. You took a long time to get an elbow out, and it was really expensive, while you could have gotten like two Archidons. And the current meta, two Archidons would beat one Albatross that's slow, so it'll get caught up to. And it has no like real protection unless you have a max giant in front of it.
Yeah.
But Archidons are the main meta. Now, I heard one day when there was a new update that Spiritans were actually gonna, Spiritans and Juggernauts were gonna get a mana decrease to 25 instead of 50, so perhaps that would eliminate the heavy archer play since the Spirit can come out really early. It might incentivize some more sword gameplay.
Yeah.
But for now, Archidons are pretty much the only viable meta. Albatrosses, they take too long to deploy. They're really, really expensive, and then their ability is 400 gold, which you could be spending on another Archidon instead.
I mean, granted, it has decent HP and damage, very decent, especially with blazing bolts. But again, it's just too expensive, and I just think the gold could be implanted better as an Archidon or even something else.
Yeah, you could be doing an Archidon and a Miner with 200 mana to spare instead of making one, and it takes like I think 40-ish seconds or so to make one.
Yeah.
It's like really, it takes quite a while, so that's a slight problem.
I mean, it's a good unit and it's decent all around, but there are just those little
Yeah,
issues.
that's why Wing is viable instead of Albatross because it does cost less, and I think it does take less time to deploy.
Yeah.
So but Albatross is essentially a stronger Wing, I guess, but pretty much it's just too expensive to be
Yeah.
viable in a game.
So on to global chat. We have actually quite a few things that we think need implemented into it.
Oh yeah.
And the first one everybody should agree on is implement a warning system for spammers, scammers, and people who abuse others verbally, such as I love this game right here is doing.
No. It's not I love this game, that's someone yelling at I love this game.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
TJ Dillashaw.
Yeah, I didn't see that. So essentially, what would happen is if somebody did this, the big pop-up would come up saying something like, avoid saying that or you'll be banned from chat
Yeah,
for
so
X amount of time.
yeah, essentially, I think it'd be a better way to get people's attention that they're breaking the rule versus just typing that they need to stop that. So, you would essentially just go to their profile and click a button, and what the pop-up would show, it'd be, I guess if you wanted to, you could implement an option to choose what they were doing wrong, but pretty much it would show, hey, you got a warning from one of the admins. Here
Yeah.
are all the rules, make sure to follow them, and it just like lists them pretty much.
Yeah, and not only that, it will help keep it much cleaner, much more user-friendly in all terms.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff that goes on in Stick Empires,
Oh
preferably at
yeah.
nighttime. We won't get into that, but
You can go on and see for yourself.
yeah. But I don't know. I think perhaps on top of that, maybe a couple more admins could join the team because there has been some that lost adminship because they were like sharing accounts, I think.
Yeah.
And most of them are inactive now. It's mainly just me and occasionally Gale Force, I think, but it's pretty much just 1 to 3 players that are still like admins and only one that's really active. So that's not enough to really keep this chat under wraps, I think.
I'd say we need uh 2 or 3 at most.
Yeah, we might. I think we should recruit a little bit, a few more guys, like perhaps this Black Ops 30,001
I
fellow.
mean, heck, I'm up for it.
Yeah, that's what they all say, and then they get into it, and then they regret it. But
Well, it's a big job,
yeah,
but
it can get a little tedious at times, but I do think there needs to be a couple more admins and or just a better chat system in general. For example, the swear filter. So it essentially censors any bad word within a word. So if you say grass, it'll censor out the the bad part of that.
yeah,
Stuff like
so
that.
you can just do that. And yeah, I'm showing examples right now. You can also go something like, if you guys watched one of my earlier videos this week, you type in classic, it does the same thing.
So
Uh,
yeah, it goes on for a range of things, and what's really aggravating is it actually goes into that with different languages. So, for example, if you're saying a word that would generally be fine, it's a swear word in another language, like a portion of it. So even when you think it wouldn't be, it is, and that mainly causes the problem of being able to never really talk without accidentally sounding like you're cursing, I guess.
yeah, and
But
the only real way to fix this is if you put spaces between every letter, and that kind of gets aggravating.
actually, I am a master of that technique now.
I don't use it a lot, so
Yeah. Like I can, um, there you go. Just do that.
yeah, that's true.
But it's generally there's quite a few global chat problems. I know Crazy J was talking about with the spammers to actually make them pop into a different chat room where they think they're spamming to everyone, but it's just a solo chat room.
That's actually a really good idea.
It'll be quite funny to see that too, actually. So I think that'll come eventually. But
I mean, it might not get them to stop, but it will.
well, we won't have to deal with it anyway. So
Yeah.
and
What
I
else
heard
is
they're
it?
going to bring back email confirm, so that'll actually be helpful when dealing with the people who just make more accounts to keep spamming over and over again.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
they'd have to actually make the new email and then send it to the email and then go to the email. It's just like a ton of work that might deter some spammers from actually wanting to continue spamming, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if this work gets done correctly, we could really fix up the chat as far as spammers goes, and ultimately it'll be a much better experience for, I think, everybody on Stick Empires, because I honestly took breaks from Stick Empires because all I ever saw was this spam that pops up.
Yeah, so there's just like a ton of spam that just continuously happens from people who just have nothing to do, so they decide to waste their time spamming a global chat on a flash game, but it does become quite aggravating for the players that are actually trying to communicate and talk on the chat.
Yeah, and I mean, like, especially for, new players coming in, they look at that and they're like, "Well, this isn't gonna be a user-friendly experience if this is all I'm looking at."
Yeah, it's actually gonna like deter other new players from wanting to play the game. And
Yeah,
that's quite a problem because we want the game to keep getting players, obviously. That's
we want it to expand, and
like with any game, you'd want it to expand and get a bigger fan base, but you can't really do that when they get deterred from these guys just spamming profanity in the chat.
exactly. Yeah,
So, yeah, that's like the main thing. Like, I think the different chat room thing would be pretty cool because you can't really stop the guys making new accounts just by like an IP ban because they'll just like get around
right.
it sometimes, which is always pretty
Proxy
annoying.
or even different computers. I know some guys go to their even local libraries and just do it because
It's just kind of sad, but it's a problem that we all have to deal with. So,
yeah,
I mean, like implementing a feature where we could just straight up get them out and make them think they're still spamming, but really they're not. Will
yeah,
not only stop them from making new accounts, but it'll also like just keep them happy, I guess. I don't know. Like they'll be like,
yeah,
"Yeah, I'm spamming and ruining these guys' lives," and they're just talking normally.
yeah.
But maybe an idea actually would be there's a silent chat option where we go to ban the guy and it'll like ban him, but it won't tell him he's banned. So every time he talks, it'll show for him, but for everyone else we don't see it.
That's actually not that bad of an idea.
So he'll think he's doing something like erasing the chat, but really nothing's happening.
But I think there needs to be an overall 100% working way to get rid of them completely. Like the system, some sites have to be able to tell if it's spam or not, and it automatically doesn't let them send it.
Yeah, I mean overall we need to fix chat erasing in general, but
Yeah,
honestly I think that's one of the main problems though. If you fix the chat erasing, that kind of almost eliminates all chat problems because I can simply ban the guy.
yeah,
But like with a chat erase, it creates a whole range of problems. First off, I have to scroll up and try to ban the guy, and then when people talk, it scrolls me back down. And
mhm,
when you click the name, it actually bugs out when the erase happened. So then you got to reload and all of this stuff to the point where it's not even worth trying to ban the people who erased the chat.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
overall, just quite a few fixes, but the main one is probably erase and censorship and the warning system, I think.
And I think until this overall gets fixed, traffic is going to slow down for this game because nobody wants to make friends on global if all they're seeing is spam, uh, scam. It's going to be hard to open up to the community overall, and that's going to slow a lot of things down.
Yeah. I mean, also, there's the fact that it hasn't been updated in a while, but it still is maintaining a surprising amount of consistent users, even
Yeah,
without the
and that's a good
activity.
thing.
But people will get driven away from the game if they do see this kind of profanity and chat spam. It's like, oh, then the whole game must be toxic like this, but really it's just like a few players that make the whole community look toxic.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's I think that's about it with the global chat. There's just quite a
yeah,
few things that
that need
mainly need
tweaked
to,
up a bit.
yeah. It's overall it has good intentions. It's just there's a couple problems with it.
And I mean, like any game, it's going to get fixed, but hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. And let's
The
see.
should be able to block game invites, messages.
Okay, yeah. So this is quite a popular request, and I think this should probably be carried out to a certain extent. Um, you should be able to block players from PMing you and stuff because there's a few people who get consistently harassed by someone. by like a PM. They're just spamming profanity or like sexual
Yeah.
harassment or anything like that. And I mean,
Uh,
like, you can minimize the PM, but like next time you come on, they'll just keep coming back, and it's just really annoying stuff. You just want to get rid of them, so you just want to like block them and never have to deal with them again, kind of thing.
yeah, that blocking feature would help a lot of people because there are players that get abused on here. I've actually talked to a lot of them. They came for me for help when I was online, and I actually did email Stick and Power support. I've never gotten an answer, but there should just be a block feature, and that'll help clean things up again and make the community more stable in words.
I guess so. I mean, people could just minimize the PM, but some guys don't know that, so they're just getting like more and more upset by like responding to this guy because they don't know how to get rid of him, pretty much.
Yeah,
And also, I think there should be a limit to the amount of game invites you can
invites you
send
can
one
send.
person.
Yeah.
Like, if you send one game invite, you need to wait like 30 seconds to send another. But essentially, what happens is someone can get stuck in a deadlock where people are clicking the invite button so fast that they can't click decline and go to away mode.
And the only really way out of it is to log out and log back in. Not even setting yourself to away or offline gets rid of it.
Yeah, like, I mean, away and offline gets rid of the game invites, but people who spam this make it impossible to even get to that mode,
Yeah.
which causes quite a bit of problems, especially when you're trying to like deal with a chat spammer or something, and people are just spamming game invites to hinder your ability to deal with that, I guess.
I mean, it's really frustrating.
Yeah, there's quite a few people who won't take no for an answer and will just keep spamming you, and it's just not okay in my
I
opinion.
think I think Ace would know as well as I am because YouTube and people.
Yeah, there's like a
I've
few certain individuals that really, really want to play us, and even if we're doing something, they still want to play us.
I mean, I've had my fair share of that, and it's really frustrating. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who had to put up with this. And there should be a 30-second cap, I think, to send them at the very least.
Yeah, something around that, as well as PMs should not open up automatically when you're in a game. Because
Yeah.
essentially what happens is, say you have an Archidon, you want to G-kite it. If someone PMs you while you're in game, instead of G-kiting, you'll type G to them, and that could actually cost you the game.
So yeah, that's another overall issue, and something else that ties into this is if you're already chatting somebody and you plan on making a game with them, and one of your other buddies chats you, that message will just move over to the new guy that texted you, and it's gonna create a mess, a small one, but it does get annoying.
Yeah, but back to the G thing, it legit can cause you tournament games. Like, if you're in a tournament and someone PMs you while you're in the tournament, and you can't G-kite at that critical point, you could actually, like,
Oh yeah,
lose, like, money, perhaps, if there was a prize for winning just because of that little glitch happens to you. So
oh
that's
yeah.
actually quite a big problem if you think about it. But not so much of a scale if you're just like a normal player, but for like big players or like pros, that could actually cause quite a few problems.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on the situation, and it's not a huge error that needs fixed, but it can cause its own issues that could really have an effect on the player in question.
Yeah, and let's talk about some deathmatch here. So there's been a few people who call deathmatch pay to win, and I kind of agree. There is of course reasons behind this. Think about it. You give Chaos, the most offensive empire in the game, a ton of money,
Indeed, yes.
and Order can't really counter that right away because the Chaos units are generally better.
And granted, nobody's gonna use crawlers and bombers, so that eliminates two. But you still have the Juggernaut charge,
Yeah, the Juggernaut, you have the Deads,
the dead poison.
straight up Medusa right off the bat. You can get your Medusa and Marokai out before
Yeah.
Shinobi 2 can be researched, so that could actually cause a ton of problems for
Oh,
the
oh
Order
yeah, it
player.
causes a lot. I've seen it.
And especially against elementals, I think you just automatically lose if it's Chaos versus Ellie. Ellie just can't do anything about it.
Yeah,
And Ellie against Order, I still think Ellie is in favor, so Order is at the bottom of the chain here, hence Deathmatch being kind of pay to win, in my opinion. Because you can make
yeah.
just a ton of Chirags right off the bat. What is the Order player going to do about that? Like
I mean,
40
it's gonna
seconds?
be hard to stop that because Chirag's most
They're
health.
really tanky and they can hit
Yeah,
hard. And you can have a Chirag at the span that they make a normal Spiriton. Because you have like such a huge amount of money on top of the fact that you pretty much never need to pray because you have so much mana and you
yeah.
barely use it. So like it gets rid of any need of having to pray so you can make more gold and
And
just
we're
yeah.
and I don't think we're saying to change the starting amount of gold and stuff. We're just saying that Order's not in favor in as far as deathmatch goes. It's a lot harder for them depending on the player.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what you'd do about that. I mean, I guess you could tweak the gold cost and stuff depending on the empire, but pretty much Order is a defensive empire, so it's just going to be behind in these kinds of situations.
Yeah, it's very defensive. Chaos, especially early game, you have the offensive advantage. You're gonna use it, and it's gonna work.
Yeah, it's like think about it like this. Um, a crawler start versus Medusa, Marokai, Juggernaut, Dead. It wins. Like it's like an ultimate combo if you have everything, and you can do that right off the start.
Exactly, and especially like you go Magi Kill start, Stoneface, Giant start, Marokai, the Reaper. I mean,
It's just you can't really do much. It's like an ultimate combo, some of everything, but you don't really have those offensive like spells. You only have the Magi Kill, which can get reaped and then stoned or reaped. Like it gets sniped out pretty instantly, and your ninjas won't be ready for those spellcasters yet.
exactly. Granted, I love Chaos. That's one of the reasons why. um, but yeah, in all honesty, Order is in the losing when it comes to deathmatch as
Yeah.
far as overall odds go.
And to be honest, actually, I'm quite curious to see how the game will change if when the Spiritons and Jugs are decreased to 25 mana. How would that affect like deathmatch games?
That is a very interesting thought to think about, actually.
Because Chaos will have some extra mana to spare since like it almost runs out of mana off the start, but you'll have some extra mana to work with, so perhaps that could change up the game. I'm not sure.
We're just gonna have to wait for that update.
One day.
It's gonna be here tomorrow.
Nope, I said one day it'll happen.
I was gonna.
Not in
I was,
you. I wish in one day. Devs are busy. They're doing things, so we just kind of have to wait till they have time to come back to Stick Empires. And until then, we're at our current stage of Stick Empires, which is a couple of glitches and bugs, but overall a pretty solid and
very well put
entertaining
together.
game. Yeah, were you
And
here for like alpha?
yeah, I've been here since day one of launch.
Oh dang, I haven't. I was like really late to Stick Empires.
Yeah, I was the very first person to actually upload Chaos Empire gameplay. So,
Were you?
yep.
Did you even beat Crazy J's like chaos announcement on Stick Page Studios?
Yeah, I actually bought Chaos the first or second day that it was out.
Oh dang.
Yeah, and then I uploaded it, and that's what started my whole popularity with this game. And granted, it has died down a lot, but I'm still here.
That's
And
very much true. Now
yeah,
so you've been here early, so you've seen how much the game has changed over time with balance updates and stuff.
oh my gosh, it's nothing like it used to be. I was I was actually looking at my first video Stick Empires not long ago, and just how far the game has come as far as features, modes, uh, you name it, it's
E-
there.
Even the burn damage. Like
I mean,
bombers used to be like two-hit kill on your archidons and your miners and stuff.
oh
And
yeah,
explosion, the blast from the magi kill used to one-shot archidons and
Archidons, yeah.
two-shot wings and stuff. But now you got the burn damage. It's like it's quite interesting to see, like from a player perspective, that it used to be like this and now it's something else.
Yeah.
But overall, I think the changes were better. It's just like very, I guess, just interesting to experience both ways of the game, I guess.
And granted, I love all the updates. It's a very well put together game. Now they did keep it balanced enough to the point where it's even still, you know.
Yeah, except for elementals, I think there are a few gray areas there. For example, they don't really have a defensive way to handle chaos. Like, I've been told chaos versus Ellie is an instant loss on Ellie on classic because you can just rush in and use a crawler to tank the splash castle air hit and just
Yeah.
bomb their economy to death. And they don't really have a defensive building either to even like try to counteract anything. They only have blind gate, which isn't really going to do much.
Yeah, and if the bomber start fails, because in some cases it does, actually a lot of cases it does, because people are finding out ways to get around that. You just either stack deads, and if they counter that with freeze, you can go eclipsers, and that's essentially a good way to counter it because I've played plenty of CVE, and eclipsers are a good way to avoid those freezers.
Eclipse your Mass is how you win against elementals, like hands down, actually.
I've been deads before. I've went dead massing before, and that works almost just as well. It's just they always target those with the freezers, and that's what kills you.
Yeah, but if you think about it though, wings are they can't get targeted by freeze. They can't really get blasted because you have time to move out of the way. The only
Yeah,
thing that'll really counter is a cycloid, and that's not really strong at the moment. So it's pretty much unstoppable, I think. And
I
perhaps I
get.
was thinking you would turn the blind gate into a buildable for the chompler, like probably like decrease the time and stuff to a
Yeah,
point where it's viable. But you think about it, order and chaos, miners can build stuff, chomplers cannot. So if you make the blind gate more of like a defensive like item that you can place down like in front of your gold mines to like block off what you're doing,
yeah,
and then like have another unit perhaps. Like I heard some people were talking about like a quicksand kind of thing where it like slow people down or something like that.
yeah. I mean, these are all good ideas, and we just gotta wait and see ultimately.
Yeah, but overall, like order and chaos are balanced, and I think Ellie's the only thing that kind of lacks a bit in the balance department. But overall, it's not terrible.
It's not
It's
terrible, but it's just not where it could be.
yeah, I mean the game could be like at a different realm at this point if it was just continuously getting updated, I guess. But the game's at a pretty almost a stable point where you could leave it for quite a while and it'd be fine, which is what they kind of did. But
Yeah,
with Ellie and a couple like chat issues and stuff, it like there's just these little things that need to be fixed. Ellie's a little bit of a bigger kind of issue, but
yeah.
pretty much the same thing stands. Ellie, if I don't really know what you'd do to entirely balance Ellie. I heard some people wanted it to become a little more mana based because it was mainly gold based. The only thing he spent mana on was like 100 on the combination, I think.
Yeah.
So like you never really need mana, so you run out of gold really fast because you have so many gold chomplers. There,
That actually happened relatively recently. It was like 4 minutes into the game. I didn't need mana until 4 minutes in, and I didn't even realize I wasn't collecting it because you don't need it as bad as if you were playing Chaos and Order.
yeah. So I'm thinking like maybe with a combination, it'll give back some gold perhaps that you've spent on the two combos of units. Like
Something like that.
for
Yeah.
example, you have a earth and a fire. That's like a collective 600 gold. Make it cost 200 mana and give back like 50 gold or something.
Yeah.
Like that might actually like be a good idea because it'll help you out when you're kind of straining for money, and it'll make you have to have mana more, which might help out since you'll be using less gold and more mana, and mana's infinite. You can have as much as you want, but gold is a limited resource.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Granted,
I
that'll take a
mean,
lot of getting used to in my part.
yeah, it would change up the meta for sure, but I that's only one of the few ways I think this could be handled because I'm not really an elemental player. I don't know exactly where everything lacks and everything is above average in comparison to other empires. This is just like from kind of an outsider point of view and reading some of the
Yeah,
threads and stuff on it. There's just these few things that you could fix up and like change up the game with. I mean, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what they do, but those are a few things I think I would take elementals in the direction of, you know?
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, overall, game's pretty
Elementals aren't
solid.
bad. We're not making them seem not as good as Chaos and Order. You can easily, well, not easily, you can beat these empires with
Uh,
elementals if
yeah,
used
LA
correctly.
against Order, if you play pretty well, you can handle almost everyone, but against Chaos, it's
If you're
pretty much a
absolute pro,
loss.
you can win.
I don't know. I saw Mystery Bet failed to beat Gale with Ellie on against Chaos. So I'm not entirely sure. Mystery is like one of the best players in the game, and if he couldn't beat someone like in the top 80-ish, I think he was in,
Yeah,
then there's obviously a problem with Ellie, I think, because I think Mystery knows what he's doing if he's the top player and there's still
yeah,
problems. So I'm not entirely sure. I mean, of course, Ellie needs work more so than the other empires to kind of make it hang with the other guys
yeah,
because right now a ton of people are saying that Ellie is like pay to lose, I guess.
yeah,
I mean, it's it's how you play it, but there's also a few things that could be improved. Like I know the healing right now is like terrible.
yeah. It's not
Like
good.
when they updated advanced healing, it used to be super good and now it's like worse than the normal healing I heard.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure the numbers on that, but there's just a few things that need to be fixed up to make it solid. And one thing I would like to have is if you like revert the waters back to what they originally were, make it so if I kill it, it doesn't heal.
yeah.
Because it's like you get punished for killing
For
the
killing
enemy
it.
unit,
Yeah,
but like I would be fine with it if they activated the heal, it would hook them up with the heal. But if I kill it, make it dead. Like I don't want them to get the benefit of that.
yeah,
Because then it's like, why would I ever want to press in? He's just gonna get his stuff back.
yeah,
So I don't know. It's like Ellie is in a really weird situation. It's so unique and different from the other empires. It's very difficult to balance it with them
yeah. It's a
because
fun empire to use. It just,
yeah, the whole like idea of combinations and stuff is unique, but it's like very difficult to balance against two empires that are normal, you know?
yeah,
So overall though, I guess Ellie's okay, but it could be way better.
yeah. So, anything else on the empires?
Now, I think we pretty much covered I think all of our topics actually.
I think we did.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to this poorly put together podcast. I'm AsePlayer, and that was Black Ops 30001 or Destroyer 13579. His link will be in this description. I hope mine will be in his as well.
We'll see.
Let's see if I remember or not.
If you guys have anything that you want to add onto what we did, feel free to put it in the comments.
Yeah, and if you want to see more of this, feel free to let us know, and we'll sit down and talk for like another 50 minutes about random stuff. I mean,
And that will be poorly put together as well.
yeah, what do you expect? We're us, man. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning into this, and we will see you next time.
See ya.